Hey folks, Carl here. Welcome to part 4 of the Meng King Tiger build. As stated in the previous videos, this was a prize on eModel's live stream on a Monday evening with Skipper Ted and Mr. Fox. As you know, they occasionally give away a prize, and I was lucky enough to win this one, so I thought I would make a build series. Last time we finished off these things. Yeah, I have no idea what they're called now. My brain's coming. Swing arms. Anyway, I'm starting off. We got as far as getting all these swing arms on and these, and putting in the central supports if you're not building an interior. So this episode I'm hoping to carry on through parts D4, looking at D5, that's just putting the wheels on, so we don't want to do that yet. On to D6, which is building the black back plate, D7, D8, D9, and we are not going to be building the tracks until towards the very end, and after that it's on to building the upper hull, so we may not get as far as that. So without further ado, let's get on with it. Okay folks, we are up to part 4, and looking at the instructions here, parts A12 and A16, it's also stating there's a polycap. Now there are no polycaps left, we have used them all. I've double checked the box and there's nothing in there. So what I think has happened is, with there being 2 spare wheels, we made them up, and I think we've used the polycaps that were left for this in the spare wheels. So be very careful making all the wheels up, because you're running out of polycaps. But looking at this and how it's mounted to the body itself, get the sprue out. So it's this part here and this part. I don't think there's anything that's going to be coming through here that requires a polycap. So I'm going to get these out, put them together, get them prepped and ready, and I'm also going to have a look through the rest of the instructions to see if there's anything that goes in there. But if you look at the instructions here, there is nothing, because that cap covers the hole, and there's nothing there. If you look at the model itself, it's a solid piece. So I don't think there's going to be, I don't see why there's a polycap in there. Anyway, I'll get this done, get them on, see if there's any issues with getting them fitted or anything like that, and if not, I'll talk to you shortly. Okay, I'm back. We've taken this piece off the sprue, but as before with the swing arms on the main body, this has bits sticking out, and when you test fit it, I don't know if you can see that, let me get a pointy stick, these bits here, they're sticking out, and they stop this from sitting flush. There's 2, there's one there and one there, and when you test fit it onto the body of the tank like so, one side goes in fine, but the part here won't sit in, because these again stop you from keeping a hold of it properly, stop you from getting it to sit flush, so these need to be trimmed off as well. So I will get those done and carry on, and we'll talk to you shortly. Okay folks, we have now got these stuck on and attached. The polycap is used for something. but I don't think it's critical. It's used for putting the drive sprocket on if you want it to turn. So obviously you have the polycap inside there, and there's a pin inside that drive sprocket, and when you push it on, obviously the polycap will give it a bit more resistance than what it's got there, and it's quite loose. But since I have no intention of having this model moving, I will just glue that in place when it comes to it. So if you want that, make sure when you're making the wheels up you don't use all the polycaps in the 2 spare wheels that are in the kit, and that will leave you with the 2 polycaps for this section. Yeah, for mounting the drive sprocket. Also got these prepped up and clean. These are this part here. Now this is also for mounting the, I think, the drive sprocket onto, which does have a polycap in, so as you can see it holds it quite well. And I was a bit concerned that it would just push in, but as with most other parts of this kit, it has a locating pin just there, and on the back section itself it's got the slot. So this kit is pretty helpful. See, it just pops into place to stop you from making a mistake, and now that will be in the right place for mounting the wheel on. So I'm going to get these stuck in and we'll be back shortly. Okay folks, that is part 4 completed. Now moving on to part 5, which is just mounting the wheels, which we are not going to do because we're going to paint the wheels off the hull. These parts are now on. I actually glued these from inside the model rather than the outside. And now we are moving on to part D6, which is the back plate of the tank. Now we're now starting to put pieces together that are quite visible. So now it comes to taking a little bit more time, a little bit more care that we don't mess something up and break it. So I'm going to start working on parts D6 and D7 and possibly onto D8. So again, as always, any issues or any problems I will highlight and show you. So I shall get on with this and talk to you shortly. Okay, didn't expect to be back quite this soon. So I've cut off part D14 and done a quick test fit. Now the fit itself is superb. There's no gaps, nothing at all on the piece. The only gripe I've got, let's take it off, again, where they've connected it to the sprue, it's sticking into the model, that little pin there. So we're going to have to trim it off this way, and then we're going to have to trim it off the back side of the model. Now this piece is actually textured. I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up. So when you trim these pieces off, you're going to lose that little bit of texture. I know it's not going to be a lot, but still, it's still there. So it's a bit of a shame. So we'll trim it all off to see what it looks like. Like I say, it's not going to be massive, but still. So I shall carry on. I shall talk to you shortly. Okay, we've now trimmed these off, and it's not actually looking too bad. So that's a bit of a result. Now we've got a bit of a conundrum here. We now have these to put here. Now I don't know whether to place them on like that, because these are actually held in place with these, and there's 4 of them, and these are actually the first piece to show you the real detail of this kit. If you look on there, it's got the wing nut actually detailed on that, and this goes over the top of there and glues in place. So we can attempt, if we want to try and put these in place without actually fixing these to the kit. So I'm going to have a play with that, see if I can do it, and I'll get back to you. Okay folks, that is part D6 done. Now I managed to get these on and in place without gluing the main part itself down, but they're not going anywhere, so I actually glued them into place as well. We've got this back wooden box on. You can see the grain in there of the wood, pretty detailed. Another detail, that piece there with the wing nut on is actually a separate piece. So, and then we've got on the back here these two hooks and that bracket right there. I'm not even sure what that is. So the next stage is D7, which will be putting the exhausts together and fixing them. Now it actually shows you here to paint these separately, because in the next stage they've got exhaust covers. So what we're going to do is we're going to build these up, get them onto this. We will then build these covers up but keep those off the tank and paint those separately and attach them after we've painted the main body of the tank. There's also some, yeah, those are the pipe covers there showing you actually where they fit. So I shall carry on, get D7 and D8 done, and then we'll look to see getting it attached to the main lower hull. So I shall carry on and speak to you shortly. Hey folks, just working on the exhaust covers. We've put this piece in and we've just installed, I don't know if it's going to pick it up, that piece there. Let me zoom the actual camera in. So it's that piece there. Fiddly doesn't begin to explain it. So how have I installed it? So if I zoom in, that's the piece there, and the way I've gone about putting it in is I've trimmed it and everything ready. Yeah, so you get that flat, that piece at the bottom there flat. I then got a little bit of blue tack, a cocktail stick, blue tack on the end of the cocktail stick. Now I've not filmed this because it takes quite a lot of time. You then get this stuck onto the blue tack where you want it, like so. Yeah, you then glue, there's a little recess for it there, a dab of glue in there, and then it's a matter of holding it in place until it's dry. Now I've not filmed it because it takes quite a lot of time and quite a bit of concentration to actually hold it in place, but once it's stuck, it's stuck. Okay, so I just thought I'd stop and show you that part. Okay, I shall carry on. Okay folks, that's all the parts ready to go onto the hull. I've already attached the shackles. I've not glued them down because they pretty much grip themselves, and if you lose one, there are spares on the sprues, so we shall leave those like that, and when we paint them before they dry we'll make sure they can still move, and then after drying we'll make them move again just so they always stay loose, but you'll see that when we get to painting. So we have this centerpiece. I'm not sure what it is. It may very well be for if you are doing the interior. So this piece just sits in these two guide holes here. And looking at the pictures, there's a little, looks like a wire just there that sits forward. So put that in place, and I shall glue this from the bottom. So it's just a dab of glue one side and a dab of glue on the other. And that's that in. The next part is the rear plate, and as you saw before, this literally, there's a groove. It literally just slides into place like so, and it is an exceptionally good fit. There's no gaps or anything again, so I shall again paint this from the inside. That should do us. Yep. Cool. So that is now starting to look a little bit like a tank. I've taken these two pieces of the exhaust, I put some blue tack in the back, put cocktail stick in, so they are now ready for painting when we come to it. So yeah, we have the wheels and the lower hull. So what is next? Well, according to the manual, it's onto the tracks, but it wants you to fit them at the same time. So we should be skipping this step and coming back to it later. Next, it is the start of the upper hull. So I'm going to call this video here because we're 18-19 minutes, maybe a little bit more in time. So as always, thank you very much for watching. We have hit 80 subscribers, which is amazing. I really wasn't expecting any when I started doing this. So brilliant. Thank you all very much for your support, your comments. So I'm starting to waffle. So as always, be good, be safe, keep making models, and we'll see you next time. Again, thank you very much for watching and subscribing. Catch you next time.